My final presentation for HON 394 compares Nietzsche's idea of perspectivism with the Kashawagi information measurement theory, IMT. Friedrich Nietzsche, born on October 15, 1844, was a German philosopher who produced the majority of his work in the 1870s and 1880s. He was most known for his many highly controversial ideologies. Nietzsche largely criticized religion and the Christian morality in general. He also embraced and furthered existing theories, such as the master-slave theory and nihilism. But more importantly, one of his main doctrines was the idea of perspectivism. In perspectivism, Nietzsche criticized other philosophers who failed to address the fact that their understandings or theories were limited to their perspectives. Knowledge of a subject is necessarily partial because of the limitations in human perspectives. Perspectivism rejects the idea that people can understand an absolute truth in the world because their understanding of the world is limited to their view. Objective facts or knowledge outside of human interpretation simply do not exist. He extends this thinking to the idea of ethical absolutes. With perspectivism, there are no ethical absolutes that were developed by a religion or non-human beings, but instead one's existence is defined by the individual surroundings. This means that truth or reality is developed by individuals. This ideology indicates that people are in control of their own being and define their circumstances by what they experience or feel. Nietzsche does note that just because everyone has their unique perspectives does not mean that all perspectives are equally accurate understandings of the environment. IMT has a slightly different view on the concept of reality. In IMT, all knowledge and information already and always will exist in the world. It is up to individuals to observe the natural world and create their own lives specific to their circumstances. IMT also believes that individuals cannot be influenced by others, and thus everyone's life has been predetermined by their initial conditions. Therefore, everything that happens in someone's life is necessarily correct, and that there is only one way for someone's life to pan out. This means that each person's reality is equally correct. IMT also relies on information that is dominant, measured, and absolute. In particular, much of IMT revolves around simplifying situations with metrics. By taking dominant measurements with metrics, IMT is able to reduce thinking and stress in decision-making situations. When comparing the two ideologies, one can see both similarities and differences. Both concepts favor the idea that reality is individual and is unaffected by the thoughts of other people. In other words, control and influence do not exist. They also agree that everyone develops their own unique perspectives based off of the circumstances that they faced. In terms of Nietzsche's position on metrics, he would likely not find any conflict with interpreting metrics. He would agree that there's no room for misinterpretation of metrics, but would say that how this information is applied to a situation varies from person to person. He also would believe that not everybody would be able to see some aspects of the world and thus would not be exposed to all of the dominant metrics of a situation. They disagree on the idea that there is an absolute truth in the world. IMT believes that all information exists in the world and people must observe this information to understand how everything works together. Perspectivism states that no matter how much a person wants to understand everything, they are inherently limited because they will never be able to understand anything outside their perspectives on life. They also disagree that there is some universal morality. IMT believes that everyone should live their lives in order to benefit others, while Nietzsche states that there's no absolute right or wrong way to live or treat others. Overall, the comparison between IMT and perspectivism has given insight on how IMT fits in as a philosophy. The similarities between IMT and perspectivism indicate that IMT ideologies have roots in classical Western philosophies. The fact that IMT and perspectivism disagree with one another actually supports both theories. IMT believes that one person cannot control others, and because each person's reality is equally true, Nietzsche's reality is valid. At the same time, Nietzsche Would also say that IMT is a legitimate perspective on the world, though it does not fully apply in every scenario. People should take the theories and philosophies of IMT and perspectivism and mold them into their personal ideologies that fit their identities and circumstances. In doing this, people would actually be following the teachings of both philosophies by controlling how they live their lives. Thank you very much.